Welcome everybody. Welcome back to the Mask Off podcast. Today it's your host Aditya Jain, Agrim Mittal, Devang Khetan, and Raghav Maheshwari. And today on this episode of Mask Off podcast, we have a special guest, Miss Yaman. And we have a round of applause for that, please, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So, ma'am, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. What about you all?
Fine. Fine.
All right. Yeah.
So, just for our viewers, if you could give yourself like an introduction, just so they know who you are.
Okay. I work as a school counselor in Pathway School, Noida. And I have been in the field of counseling for the last 20 plus years and really enjoyed working with young people, especially students, the 10th, secondary grade, I would say. And it's just been a privilege to walk alongside young people as they set off for their lives, essentially, take off. Like after school, they take off from the university and all of that. It's been a pretty exciting journey so far. So I'm excited to hear what you all have to talk about today.
Yeah. Okay. When you said like when you were giving a number, I was expecting like 8 or 9 years. 20 years is a lot. I'm gonna be honest. 20 years is a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my son is 21 now. So yeah, I've been working for a very long time. Yeah.
I can guess.
How long have you been in Pathways?
This is going to be my third year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, ma'am, how has lockdown been? Let's just start with that.
Lockdown has been quite interesting, actually. I would say that I'm a very introvert person, and I always have longed for my own space and time. And I think this lockdown has given me that. So I'm quite happy and settled.
Yeah, I think I've noticed that a lot for like a lot of outgoing people. I think lockdown has been like very dreadful. Like like I'd say we four. Yeah. It's been like so dreadful. But like I think it's for a lot of like, people with like who are introverted and like they don't like, public spaces a lot. Maybe this has been like a very good opportunity for them. Just like sit back, relax. Yeah.
Right. A very forced rest, I would say, for some people who really work hard.
Yeah.
But I would say more or less, for the students community, I would say it's been hard because I think majority of them thrive on their social connections, catching up and interacting with each other. And virtual connection is nothing compared to when you're actually with your friends.
That is so true. I can't tell you any less, ma'am. That is so true. It's been dreadful.
When we met like last week after 5 months, we were hugging for like minutes.
I swear, ma'am. We met on Saturday. Yeah, we met on Saturday. It was like 5 months, exactly 5 months later. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't. But it was
How was it?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I can't tell you.
It was like I couldn't get enough of these guys in those 2 days.
That day I was very depressed, ma'am.
Oh wow! Look at that.
That day I was very depressed.
So how would you infer that? So what happens with that?
It's
leading after such a long time.
I realize we take like normal life for such granted. Like meeting everyone every day. Talking to everyone without you never think about if I can go outside or not. And these last 5-6 months, they have changed my perspective on everything. Everything.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
We realize what we value the most, isn't it?
That is so true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the lockdown. Okay, but ma'am, if I can ask, how has the lockdown been as a counselor specifically?
Yeah, oh dear, I would hate to use that word.
Oh.
But if I may, not to demean or anything like that, but it's been lucrative in that sense, because it has been so. A lot of people are challenged with various kinds of issues, and just rubbing against each other in the house, in the sense conflict. It's very fertile ground for a lot of conflict, I would say, and therefore, I would say the counselor community has really, really been busy in that sense, very occupied in untangling, detangling all of those issues that come about, and yeah, it's been very much on the rise, I would say, the need to reach out and speak to a professional and seek help. Yeah.
So exactly, like it's completely different in terms of physical interaction.
You can't compare it to anything. So like the people who needed help regularly, they would have more problem, in terms of interacting to you on a FaceTime or a video call.
Yeah, it's not the same. It is different because I think a lot of time when you're with each other, you can pick up so many cues, the body language, and a lot of things are communicated in unspoken manner. But when you're limited to a Zoom call, in the middle of an intense conversation, your link goes and you just lose that moment. It is very disruptive, so but I think we as human beings we adapt very easily. We just, especially you young people, your generation, I would say, adapts really well. And people like us are like, oh Lord, what happened? Falling apart. You all just pick up and you move on. And I think that gives us the energy like, okay, it's not a big deal. We just reconnect in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would say at the beginning of all of it was like more of the interesting factor, like, oh yeah, it's all going to all be on the digital form and we can sleep when we want. It was that. Yeah. But now as we've progressed through it, and it's been 3 months, I guess now, right? 2.5 months almost on the platform and school.
Yeah.
It's been
Bro, I think it's been over 4 months. Just saying.
No, exactly. in school.
We had the summer holidays, but then compared, the entire lockdown has been like 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 months. Yeah.
So, ma'am, do you see the same kids approaching you like in school? So many kids approach you on regular basis to talk to you, to reveal themselves. So, do they still approach you in lockdown?
Yeah, I've had pretty much same kids of reaching out, but I would also say a new batch has come about because we had sent out in information, if you need to talk to someone, you can reach out. And I would say a lot of people, students who come, when the triggers are at home, that has been my concern. Now during the lockdown, what will happen to these kids? This was one of my main concern. And of course, because there's no escape, for so many of them, coming to school was a big escape. But when that is taken away from them, then one wonders what will happen. So of course, a lot of those kind of issues and cases and students have reached out. But and also the ones who are really struggling with managing their time. When you're in one set environment, there is no movement as such.
I'm one of those. I'm one of those.
From the bed to the chair,
Definitely.
to the chair to the bathroom. That's about it.
पूरे
dining room.
पूरे दिन का वर्कआउट होता है, यहाँ से बाहर के खाना खा के बाहर आना. That's the only workout I have.
I think all of us, we are just restricted within our house. There's not much. Even I get cranky and gravity sometimes, and then you sort of, where is this coming from? I need some physical movement. I need a little bit of something to give my brain a bit of a rest. It's getting saturated with so much.
I feel that because yesterday I ran after like so many months. I was playing treasure hunt in this resort I'm at. So I ran like I ran like crazy, like a dog unleashed after months from a locked room. I ran like that.
Wow.
Literally. Dog.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just when you run in abandon with that free spirit, right? I get it.
Gets you free.
I think emotions को समझो ना, वो emotions
है यार.
Pretty weak I see now.
I can imagine though. It's so
right.
It's been a pretty captivating experience, I'd say. Like it's been like when you're staying in the room for such a long time, when you don't get to meet all your friends, you don't get to interact, and you can't really relate all the personal in-person interactions to the online Zoom meetings. So that really sets apart.
So yeah, but do you think like obviously like people would be approaching you, but don't you think I don't know for other people, but don't you think it's more difficult for them to approach in this online environment, or would it be? Yeah, I think it'd be difficult.
No, I'd agree with you, Aditya. I think for some it makes a difference to be meet in person.
Yeah,
I think they would rather wait for that. But if it's an urgent situation, then I guess it depends on what they are struggling.
Because I think for a lot of people, they even face difficulties in meeting someone in real life. Like, even getting to that point of talking to someone, getting over that fear of talking to someone in real life is also very hard for some people, I guess. But like in terms of online, I think that would make it so much more worse. wouldn't
You
it?
would think so. I would like to think that there are this being online gives them a sense of privacy, because you have the option of you can switch off your camera so the other person, that
That's
what
true.
we really, so it is unsettling to make that eye contact.
Instead, it's better, I would say.
So I've had some sessions when children are not comfortable, that if I'm looking at them, they're like, can I switch off the camera? I said, fine, as long as you're talking to me, I know you're there, it's fine. It's all right.
I guess I won't really agree with that. I've been to like your room a couple of times for CAS and other things, man. The aura and the smells and the agarbatti that you like, man.
It's such a cozy
Very
अच्छा
good.
सा room है बड़ा आपका.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cozy. So I
very
think
welcoming.
personally, I would be more comfortable there. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think you can't beat that, isn't it? It's a package. It's a package deal. But I think now what we're doing is we're making do with what we have. And I would say the ones who are really have an urgent need will reach out regardless. But it's the peripheral ones that we'll probably miss out on.
Yeah.
I guess can't really do, because I would say, in school environment, it's like you're crossing and you just peep in to say hi.
Yeah.
And how are you? And we connect for 2 minutes. And then like, acha, something is bothering me, and you let it out and you're done. That's it. That is something which cannot happen in a virtual environment. Because you have to set the time and all of that. Yeah. So I miss those connects. Yeah.
I think even like, that hassle of, I guess that's a hassle of, like connecting to, like, asking for an appointment or asking you, like, can I talk to you online and stuff. That would be like a very big barrier compared to like, if someone wants to really talk to you in person, they would come up to your room that way, like just spontaneously, and they'd be like, ma'am, can I please talk to you for 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, just that spontaneous connect is what I really miss.
Yeah.
I think that has been hard.
I think that's where that's the peak of their emotion, like when they really want to talk about it. Compared to right now, it's kind of
also
in the
Also, there is absence of physical comfort. Like when we're talking in person, I feel protected, or like maybe a hug with someone you're talking to or opening up to can make so many things better. That's another thing, a crucial thing I would say, which is missing from here.
You're right about that. Yeah, I think a lot of, it's of course now with the social distancing, I'm not even sure if we can be in close proximity. We have to maintain that distance. So because for some people, they are wired like that. You don't have to say much to them. Just hold their hand and let them just know I'm there for you. It's enough. It's enough to set them up and in a good space, in a good zone to carry on. But that is, you're right. There's so much we miss out on that. Yeah.
But I guess, ma'am, like like if we exclude the entire area of like the online and the pandemic and everything, I guess like students in general have so much stress, like so many problems, like I guess like like academic problems, maybe family problems they have, relationship problems, so many different things that they have to face, like even adults, but at the same time students. And do you think like in general how difficult it is for students, like in general, in a normal school day?
Oh my, I would say that my heart goes out for them.
Oh, really?
It really does. Yes, I do, Bita, because when
a lot of people say that, we have been to the same problem, and, that always, strikes a bit of, like it angers me a little bit, because I feel the problems that we have to go to the modern problems concerned with mental health, ma'am, they are completely different. They go to a completely different level.
Yes. I would, if I may say so, I'm so glad I was born in my time and not in your time. I would have died long time ago. Because there is so much that you all are juggling with, you all are dealing with. It is, I would say the intensity is, woo, it just blows my mind.
Thank you,
all the more the need that we feel, I'm not patronizing anybody, but I just feel the amount of exposure, the way the technology has advanced over the years, the amount of exposure you all have in terms of social media, where you are essentially on stage, if I may say so, 24/7. You are at the brunt of so many things 24/7, which I would say in my time, I was not. So I was protected and shielded from so much more, but not the young person at this age. It's like, you are vulnerable to so much more, and all the more need for us to come alongside and scaffold and provide that kind of an emotional support structure, which I feel this generation, will need, I'm using the word scaffolding in terms of just to be there to support. There is a lot that is going on within, because being exposed to much, you are naturally wired to, learn to shield yourself and protect yourself and bounce back, which is excellent. But if at all there are few chances where you might miss the bus kind of a thing, then you have support come alongside. But pretty much, I would say more or less, I believe the young minds are very together and very aware and very vocal and very thoughtful. Sometimes the things that you all have to say make me think, and I'm like, wow, that really makes sense. Yeah.
Plus IB making it worse for us.
IB
struggling with IB.
So much worse.
IB, अरे कोई बात नहीं, खत्म हो जाएगा. It is setting you up. Beta, I would say IB is rigorous. It really sets you up for life. Because you get this, you slog through this, then you are set for life. Your university is not going to be a sailboat experience. You will not cruise, but you will have the tools necessary to really set yourself up for excellence. So I would say something we have to work hard to get something. Sab kuch aaram se hoega, so it's going to be like too easy. If you work hard and then you enjoy your scores and how you set yourself up for university, your career, you look back and you'll be like, wow, you will feel so accomplished.
That is so true. I think that's a really good point, because even though it seems dreadful right now, I can guess like at the end of this, I'll probably be used to multitasking so much, procrastinating at the last moment. It's not
Aditya, I would say procrastination. I do not. I mean, I think after it's something that I have learned alongside with the IB students. It's just the way we are wired. We just have to learn to maneuver it in such a manner that we can use it for our benefit. Yeah, because the more we say nahi karna hai, wo nahi hoga, because we are all naturally wired like that.
But so I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure everyone here agrees, and everyone watching will agree. Every IB student goes through procrastination at some point. Like you can ask Devang. Like there was this.
Not some point, all the time.
Every time.
All the time.
Ask Devang, ma'am. Ask Devang.
Like you can use it to your advantage. I think I have an example for that. At least being an art student, ma'am. I think, when I'm not doing anything, I'm saying that, ye nahi karna hai, ye nahi karna, or I'm just laying around, kuch bhi. So at times, divert my mind to like a creative side. So I would rather, like design an artwork or, plan something for obviously that will only go to my art subject as art. But, I'll do something for that. So I guess, that's a true point. But for other subjects, it's not really that good.
Yeah, I think...
managing time with all the internal assessments, extended essays. Over there, we have our summatives, plus the final exams which are going on. Ma'am, it's really tough to cope up. Plus all of the scarce requirements which are also there. It's really tough.
Yeah, like, I agree with you. It is tough. It is tough. But I think what can really, if you were to, we acknowledge it is tough, but we also acknowledge it is required. Because I mean, I'm just going to share. It's a very cheesy thing, pardon me, but I always this analogy comes to my mind. It is only when you put something under immense pressure, something beautiful comes out of it. Carbon under immense pressure has the ability to produce a diamond, right? Yeah. So you're all diamonds in the rough.
In the rough.
Yes, you're all being put under immense pressure. It's accepting that this is the way it is going to be. And then when you do that, it sets your mind in terms of now what next? This is my reality. I accept my reality. Now what do I do next? In order to, then you set yourself up in terms of time management. This is what I need to do. You pace yourself. You don't wait for the last minute, right? And I mean, I would, if I may use a very personal example, it's like, how one of our students had paced herself throughout the year. And she got a 100% score in IB. Fabulous. You all know who I'm talking about, right? You won't say names. But she did so well. She's got a 100% score in IB. So because I have watched her work hard since grade 11. She paced herself. That is the key. You do that, you just not miss it. You can't. You're laying brick by brick by brick. Eventually, it's going to end up in the structure that you want it to be, isn't it?
Like, yeah, it's obviously hard, but I think it's hard for everyone, not just IB students or students it's hard for everyone. Like, everyone has their own set of problems, and like, it's just how you cope with it. But what do you think, ma'am? Like, what's the, like, what do you say in general? How do people cope with, like, let's say Devang has the art, right? Like, when he's not doing anything, he makes art. Like, personally, like, let's say I'm feeling a bit low, a bit down.
That's like, I would say that's my coping mechanism.
Yeah. So, like, for me, I think, like, when I'm down or when I'm feeling a bit sad, something's going on, I usually take out my notes and I start writing a rap or some sort of music. I feel like that's the way I can kind of, express myself. Like, it's just, I don't show them to anyone. Usually I don't show them to anyone, but it's just a personal thing, like, because it helps me, like, just feel lighter, I guess. So do you think everyone has that? Or people?
Yes, everybody has an ability, has something which they can express creatively. And that is
I just wrote this in my end essay. I feel when I'm making art, I feel like all the stress and the anxiety which is within me, it like comes down to the pen or the pencil on the piece of paper. So and that's what helps me connect more with my art. Like it's like my own form of expression. It's my own emotion that's portrayed.
Like, as cheesy as it sounds, it really helps. Like, it personally really helps.
It is true. It is true. But I think the challenge lies when the individual is not aware of what is their ability and is not aware of how they can figure out these coping mechanisms. That is when I think we step in and we go on this journey wherein we can figure out, we do through self-awareness and all of that, and help them to understand that you can still look within and find those sources where you can release and find your creative expressions. And also a lot of positive affirmation is also important. Accepting the reality, positive affirmations really set you up in a good mind space, right?
Man, so you usually are the one who listens to people and solve their problems. So, but at the end of the day, you are a human too. So, like, you have your own issues. So, what's your coping mechanism?
Right. For me, no, very true. I have my days too when I can lose it.
Yeah, of course.
And I think, after a period of time, you realize that you can sense it. Okay, I'm going to lose it now. It's getting too much. I need a break. So what I do is very relaxing for me. I need my time of meditation. And if I miss any of that, I'm all over the place. But if I get that right in the morning, I'm set for the day.
Yeah.
Relax. And if I've had a long and a hard day, I just put on my favorite music, tuck myself in my room because I'm singing at the top of my lungs, and I don't think anybody else wants to hear me. So yeah, I have my own 2-3 things that I like to do that really set me up in a happy space, and I'm good to go after that. Yeah.
So on the same note, like, you listen to so much of negativity, like people talking bad about people, talking about so many issues and everything. So, like, don't you get mind washed about people, or like have a perspective modified because of that? So, like, how do you process that negativity?
Well, how does that personally affect you?
Exactly.
Not to sound too prudish or anything like that. I would say it has come with years of training and years of experience where we have learned to disassociate in terms of not internalize that pain. I empathize because I know how it feels and I can genuinely relate to that, but I don't internalize it.
Yeah, so you don't take it as like value that is true, or like at least true for me. Yeah,
disassociate from that.
Yeah,
I don't let it bring me down.
Yeah,
but I feel the pain when the child is sharing, so I can relate and I can offer strategies, but I don't internalize it. So it comes with experience and training and a lot of supervision. Initial bits, we undergo a lot of supervision before we step into private practice. That is where we tackle all of this. And these things are learned via experience, beta. It's not something you sit down and somebody's going to teach you how to do. You pick it up.
When you started, so like, did you have like, if you're comfortable with sharing, did you have any like specific experiences that you remember? Essay.
Oh, I remember one experience. I had this. I was in a hospital visit and I saw a patient. He was a bipolar and he was in a manic state. And he was all over the place, very excited and pretty violent also. And I remember he did something which was pretty scary. He managed to produce a switchblade from somewhere. And I remember, usually I'm pretty quick on my feet. I can think on my feet. But that day I froze. I did not know how to respond. And that's when the nurse said, ki, like interns are called Chote Doctor. Ki, Chote Doctor Sahab, bahar chaliye. And I'm just standing over there, staring at this person. He would have stabbed me for sure. But Aditya managed to pull me away. And then when I came back, my knees were knocking. And my supervisor came and said, Yaman, are you all right? I said, no, sir, I need a half day off. He said, okay. Then when I unpacked it with him, that's when he told me, come again and meet him again. I said, mujhe nahi milna usse. He said, no, you you can't do this. You have to meet him. So that's how I got sensitized to that situation, I cannot associate fear with that situation. I have to overlook all of that, interact with that patient again, and carry on with the work that I was doing with him.
I can't imagine the scary work.
How old was I? I think I was probably 19 or 20 that time.
Wow.
It's taken up. Taken up nicely. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's just the experience factor, isn't it? Like you have to learn with experience. You have to force yourself.
Right.
Or a good anecdote to share on a podcast.
Huh?
It's a very good. Yeah.
Very good. Okay. All right.
But yeah, so like as we talked about, like school life in general is very, very hectic for students, people, like in general. But like the lockdown, I think. Do you think the lockdown has made it worse? Like in terms of the stress people are facing, not just students, maybe like even adults, people who are working, and teachers, students, everyone. Yeah. So it's become. Do you think it's become like much worse for us, or like in hindsight maybe better for people?
But I would say it depends on individuals. I would say it depends, because there are some people, it's how the individual is wired. What is their thought process like? There are some people who adapt very easily. They can just pick up and they can bounce back. There are some who are inherently they're wired to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They will feel more bogged down. It also depends on people if they don't have the coping mechanisms, but they need someone else to relate to and bounce it off them. That if that is not available, it's going to be hard for them to find a release for their stress and for the anxiety and all of that. So I think it's dependent on so many factors. But having said that, one thing I would say is that what we have come about to realize is, as a community, how we respond. And it's not just Indian, it's a global community. The way we have all connected with people from across the world through webinars and through so many situations, even Instagram, maybe you're making friends all over the world. That availability, that connectivity just makes you feel like, wow, had it been a regular environment, this would not have happened.
Yeah.
But with this environment, we are able to connect, and there is so many resources available. There is a sense of solidarity. So if people are hurting in Spain and Brazil, it bothers me. It affects me because it's no longer it's some distant country, because we're all suffering with the same pandemic, isn't it? We're all being affected by the same thing. So how it brings us closer, and how I would say a lot of you young people have taken the initiative to help and reach out and think of the ones who don't have the privileges that we have to take care of ourselves, reaching out to them, providing for them. It has opened doors for us to think beyond ourselves. So in that light, I would say it's looks positive, I would say, when we can extend beyond ourselves. And I'm very proud to say that so many of our students have been doing that. And it's been such a proud moment. And I wouldn't
have like a cast thing. It just started out a cast thing, like to come up with your own projects. But some of them actually, are going to make a difference because I know someone who's creating a website. It's like already a really popular thing to do, I know. But, in terms of a tool, it's going to make our students and teachers more aware of what's going around us. So it's going to be revolved around the current COVID news. And once someone has created a page on mental health, so they're going to be putting their own and everything on that. So I guess the self initiatives have led to the development of new ideas that weren't already. We had already scratched the surface of basically, and we have gotten the time to go further in that.
I agree with you. It is more relevant now.
Yeah,
very relevant now.
That time you can really think about what all you can do at this point, and like what actually interests you, like what's actually exciting, and what you really have to do at this point.
So I'm reminded of that crowdfunding chap who had come. I forget his name. It was very heartwarming how the whole idea originated, right? Yeah.
Ma'am, so you were just talking about people reaching out. So like, so verbally reaching out, you must have met so many people who had problem opening up in the initial stages. Like they wouldn't be able to talk about their problems. Like they had some issues held inside, but they couldn't open up to you, like, or to anyone, not even to their friends or a family member. They had problem talking to someone, and things just kept piling up inside them. So how do you? So maybe a word of advice to the listeners, or how do you help someone open up about things?
How do you help someone open up?
Yes.
I would say you open up when you feel comfortable and when you feel not judged. So the onus lies on the listener to create that sense, that feel that I see you, I value you, and I'm not here to judge you. And I just want to be there for you. And to build that trust, it takes time. It doesn't happen in one sitting. It takes time. So have the patience, be a good listener, good listening skills, and give them time. Give them time. And don't probe too much. They'll open up eventually. And a lot of affirmation can be given non-verbally. Just remember that. Just a smile, just a nod to say, I see you. You can come anytime you want to. Yeah.
I don't think it's like I don't think it's like a one day thing, is it? Like if like let's say someone's facing something, they can't open up, you can't be like acha idhar aao, and then you just open up suddenly. I think it's a very lengthy process, and
it takes time,
person to person, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Some people might
some are dying to spill the beans, and some we rather unravel them layer by layer. So yeah,
it's like it's very person to person, because I think for me, I don't think like for anyone, I don't think I'd be like very open about it at first, but like it takes time, isn't it? I think it's just like creating friends. You won't be like, oh, I met him for the first day, he's my best friend now, or something like that, right? It's a process of trust and very lengthy, and it takes time, I guess.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I think all of us are private people, isn't it?
Yeah.
There are so many things about, even to my best friend, she doesn't know me, the real me, because I still choose how much I share with people.
I think it's true for everyone.
And it's absolutely fine, because we are wired like that. That is self-preservation. It's our instinct, survival instinct, isn't it? You want to keep.
There was a friend of mine, so I'll just share something here.
Yes,
there was a friend of mine in my previous school, so we were very close. So one thing which he said is still going around my head, like it always goes. It's basically like whatever your issues are, whatever your problems are, just share it with 2% of your friends, because that 2% of your friends will always like help you. Like you shouldn't share your problems with everyone. What he meant. You should you should select your people who you tell things. Basically, like if I have an issue, I approach one of my best friends, and I do not tell like all my friends. I do not discuss it with most of them. So that's why.
Yeah.
Over from that, I think I have a very genuine question. Like, how do you think like people who say, let's say people who don't really open up that easily, and people who like want to talk about things but they can't find how to, how do you think they can go about reaching out? Or like,
if they can just take the first step, and just take the first step, which is to reach out to someone who would know how to probe and ask the right questions and be able to read between the lines and address the issue at hand. Yeah.
But like I'll bring up myself, like there have been times where I've been like feeling down or sad. Like, everyone goes through those phases. So like in my case, I don't really talk to anyone about it. I just let it pass, or I try to find solutions for it myself, like through myself.
Okay.
Well, I feel like looking back at them, I feel like if I would have talked to someone about it, it would have went through much quicker, maybe. So, but I know like if something like that comes through again, I probably won't talk to anyone. I'll probably be holed up in my room again. So like, how do you how do you say I go about that?
I would say, Bita, it depends. I think lessons that we learn ourselves, they stay with us.
Yeah.
So it depends on you. If you would rather learn it quickly or you would rather take your time, it's something you will have to answer, isn't it? So if you still feel that I'm going to figure out life on my own, I would say go ahead. Go ahead, do that. Figure it out for yourself. When it comes to those critical times, when your sanity, when your safety is at stake, then I would say then there are no two ways about it. Then you do reach out and get the help that you need. Right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So if it is not at that level, then of course do figure it out on your own. But if it is at that intense level, then I would strongly encourage to reach out. Then don't think much about it. Because there's a lot at stake then. Yeah.
But doesn't reaching out makes you feel like a little more dependent on others or weak inside?
For some, perhaps. For some, perhaps because they look at it as it's how they look at it, right? The perspective that is very colored. Yeah, that is very colored. So it's like something that we are battling with any which way to remove the stigma from emotional and mental well-being issues, and just consider it like walking in. I need direction. Point me in the right direction. We are not there to make anybody dependent on us. We are there to hear out, give the strategies, see if it works, set you up, give you the skills that you need, and off you go. So the next time you are faced with something, you know what needs to be done. And if you should still falter, and if you were to come back and say, it didn't work, can I revisit that? Sure, why not? Have a conversation, do a check-in, and off you go. And you're on your own after that. Yeah.
Yes, plus I think it's a lot about normalizing reaching out in our
Yes.
society, or like let's just say in our school also.
Right.
So I can remember like 4 years back when people were trying to find a way to like express a problem or something. It wasn't very normal back then because I think it was just a very new concept that we were introduced to. But throughout the years, I've seen all of my classmates make a progress through it. We know I have friends who might need some help, so maybe I help them sometimes, or I have seen them go to seek like professional help. And I've seen like people normalize it in terms of how they take it. So if I know if someone's taking help about something, it's all right to take help. There's nothing to be ashamed of about it. So I guess that's one of the things that we
absolutely.
Always approach
sorry, dear. Yes, I'm sorry.
No,
yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you. Sorry, ma'am.
No, darling. Carry on.
No, ma'am. I was like saying like I personally always like I don't hesitate to approach for help. Like I always ask for help, like irrespective of what the relations are of me and the other person. Like I don't mind because at the end of the day, I guess any of the issues, like personally talking, what I feel after 12th grade, like we'll be all of universities, and like I was just talking to my friends the other day, we won't be able to get like we won't have time to talk to each other as often as we are talking to each other right now during the lockdown. Like we'll have our friends, will be busy in our lives and stuff like that. So why to create such issues? So
रुला मत
I
यार
always
ये रुला मत ऐसे मत कर ये सब मत बात
Oh, he sounds very grown up, no?
हाँ बहुत ज्यादा ऐसे बाहर है चुप रहे वापस छोटा हो जा
the lockdown has made me mature.
mature
yeah.
So, ma'am, as like you say, every other person is different who approaches. So what are the different like major type of people you see approaching you? Like अलग-अलग type के क्या issues होते हैं, किस type के होते हैं लोग usually? Like
what kind of issues come about?
Yeah, so like
I think what are the most common type of issues maybe? What are the most common type of issues that you face?
Not that type of people I'm asking. Type of people you come across.
Or like as in like maybe open people, like very shy people. Usually, that's what he means.
Yeah, all sorts come about.
But is there a specific ratio? Is there a specific ratio? Like, is there like
ratio? I have never prepared my data in that respect.
Yeah.
My data is more in terms of
yeah.
Yeah. I would say all sorts. It's the naughty ones get referred to me. They don't come on. That is a referral for sure. But most of them come on their own. They just want to bounce off a few things.
I'll refer Raghav, ma'am. He's the naughty.
नहीं राघव बहुत change दिख रहा है मुझे राघव में. Thought process.
I think this case में आप naughty कर दो उसको, ये अच्छा नहीं लग रहा मुझे ऐसे. Mature.
Yeah. About time. 10 years from now, you guys are going to be so different. Yeah. 10 years from now. Wow.
Like, what's the gender ratio you come across?
Oh, gender.
The gender ratio.
Yeah.
I would, interestingly, if I were to just look at the data that I have, the last 2 years, it's pretty much the same. Pretty much the same.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah,
I feel
pretty
like
much.
Because there
you have a data like list of all the people you meet.
Yeah. So when I have my data, when I present my data at the end of the year, it's without the names. It's just the gender and the nature of issues. Yeah, that's about it.
Wow,
that's interesting. But I personally thought that maybe the list of boys would be less because of the stigma that I think guys also have around it, isn't
it? Boys come under reference.
Yeah, that makes more sense. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah, a lot of behavior conduct issues, they come about.
These are
about
the
confidence.
But I would say, since you're asking, but I would say, I do find that a lot of the girls are more comfortable to talk about their feelings.
I think because it's like, it's because there's a stigma around men and boys, isn't it? There's this stigma around like boys, like there's this very big thing that boys can't cry. Sorry, there's this very big thing still that boys can't cry. Like there's a lot of stigma around guys and mental health, maybe. Sorry,
what do you guys think?
I think there might be another reason for that. And it could be you being a female counselor. Like if it was a male counselor instead of you for senior school, more boys would be comfortable, like a man-to-man talk, that kind of thing.
No, agreed. It's a good point. Yes.
I don't know. I mean, it would obviously be different if, someone was actually like a male counselor sitting in front of me. But I think I would be more comfortable talking to ma'am.
Okay.
Personally, again, it's a personal opinion.
That I agree to. That I agree with Devang. It's more comfortable and warm feeling with a female counselor. Like
I think it's like that motherly thing, isn't it? I think. And आपका room बहुत अच्छा है. आपका room बहुत अच्छा है. जो बोला आपका room बहुत अच्छा है.
The vibe there is the best.
Let me sleep. Now when school opens, let me sleep there like 1 day or 2 days. I love it. That's a really nice room.
Oh God.
I find the cleaning very I find the cleaning very unwelcoming, I guess, for me, towards me especially.
Probably.
Because whenever Ma'am, one second. Hello, can you hear me, ma'am?
Now we can hear you.
I'm saying that I find the cleaning very unwelcoming towards me because especially when I want to sleep, they don't let me sleep there just for even a lesson. That's why.
Your expectation is
obviously you're not supposed to sleep there. Stupid. But I still think that there is this stigma around guys. Like, I'm not saying like guys have more problems than anything. I think everyone has equal amount of problems. But there's still this. I think it's going down recently. Like as we progress, it's really going down. But I think there's still a lot of stigma. Like, guys are supposed to be tough and no help, no, don't cry, don't be sad and stuff.
I think that's a society's stigma. But
a society thing,
a factor that I've seen which is reducing it. I think it's actually international TV shows because like a lot of the way that they approach these kind of problems there, that's actually been a big influence. I think so, because a lot of things are really normal there, and that's been a really big impact on the society, because obviously everyone watches all of these things now. So somewhere in the minds they know, I think this thing is normal here because it's also normal there, and that's actually motivated people somehow to take steps which we might not actually normally take if that intervention wouldn't have been here.
Right. Okay.
Ma'am, so like we can see, male mental health is more of a meme template on Instagram these days. Be it Will Smith or any other guy. Okay. So any word of advice for the male listeners and us lads? कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए with our mental health?
I like that you said us lads.
Lads.
I would say, Vidya, I would say, I have also come across a lot of girls who would want to not want to reach out for similar reasons, sorry. But I would say that you want to be in charge, fantastic. It's great. You want to be in control. That's the way you're wired. That's your thought process is great. But never hesitate to accept your vulnerability. And I say this to both boys and girls. Accept yourself for who you are, because that is the key, the core pillar for your emotional mental health. It's your EQ, right? Self-awareness, know who you are, then you learn to manage yourself. Know people around you, social awareness, and then you go on to your relationship management. You get these four things together, you're really on a good track. So accept your vulnerability. When you need help, do not hesitate to reach out. Do not hesitate to reach out, because it is going to benefit you in the long run, because the counselor, the therapist, or whoever is the last person to judge you, is the last person.
Yeah, probably. They will never judge. True.
They are just there to listen to you and bounce it off it, and then point you in the right direction. Yes.
Question. So like, okay. Agreed, we can trust them. They won't judge. But the main question comes around confidentiality. Are the things really ending inside the room? So
controversy.
Controversy.
I would like to add a point. I would like to add a point here. So, like, my sister is a psychologist. So basically, she has patients. So even when she's attending online sessions during these COVID times, she's not revealing the name of the person who she is taking sessions with to the family members. And so even if she's not if she's not revealing the names of the patients because of the confidentiality factor, she's not even revealing the person's problems. So I guess it's always okay, and it's always really nice to share your problems to a professional rather than someone like if it's your friend or someone, because your friend might go on and tell that to someone else, and that might hurt you more.
To cut you right there, I did not mean like a professional therapist we meet with a hourly session. What I meant was like, ma'am is a school counselor, so she works under an authority. So Bharati counselors, they are independent therapists, but ma'am works under an authority, like the heads above her. So do you share your data, the kids' issues, or the names, or what they're talking about outside the room?
Okay, that's what you're asking. Okay, they don't know the names. They don't know the names. They just get the data in terms of the nature of issues that have been dealt with. But the names of the students who are at risk.
What do you mean by at risk?
Yeah, when they are at risk of hurting themselves or hurting others, then those names are divulged. Because that is anyway a confidentiality breach in wherever we practice, when the person's safety is at risk. Whether we feel they're going to harm themselves or they're going to harm somebody else, we need to inform the authorities. It is a legal binding requirement from us. We have to inform. So even if I'm in a private practice, I practice privately, but I'm associated with a group. I'm registered with the RCI and the government and all of that. So I am legally liable, right? I can be. If my patient goes ahead and does something, and then they're like, आपने किसी को बताया ही नहीं. तो अगर मुझे लगा था कि he is going to do something, I have to inform the family. I have to inform the authorities.
On the basis of like, if you feel that he might do it or something, that's when you're supposed to inform.
I would just rephrase that, Devang. It's not about how I would feel like. If I can sense that it is inevitable because he is really dipping, then I have to inform the family. I have to get the family in the loop. And a lot of times when we are dealing with patients who are in depression and have suicidal tendencies, we also encourage family therapy sessions. So it's not just the good environment he has when he's with the counselor, but when he goes back to his environment, to get the support organized from there as well. So the whole family invariably does get involved.
But ma'am, like,
So,
what about
yeah.
like these some like I'd say like having the like tricky situations where like let's say the said person has some sort of issues that they don't want to share with their family members, maybe, right, or someone
I was
else.
coming to that only.
So like how do you do in that? Have there been any specific cases like that?
In a school setup, when you all come,
Mm-hmm.
of course, we share the whole confidentiality thing. What you say stays with me and all of that.
Yeah.
But I always tell my students in my room, you would have noticed, I have a notice also stating the same. But if I sense there is a reason to believe that you are going to hurt yourself or you're going to hurt somebody else, I need to inform your parents. Parents, I'm legally bound to inform the parents first.
Yeah.
Okay? And then, of course, the authorities. That
What
would just be...
But what if the student doesn't want that the parent should know? So is there any other, like, if he
Then
just wants...
then I would say, but I would explain to them, if it is a case of self-harm, that is when I would explain to them that I have to inform. And if the child gets upset and I'm not going to come and talk to you, I would say it's really sad that you would think like that, darling, but this is something we need to do. And this is my protocol, and I would like to follow that.
Has it ever reached?
I'm not doing it at my women fancy.
Yeah.
This is something which is there to protect the child, because the child is a minor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're all under 18, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to protect that. And
has it like ever reached that point? Like not in this school, but like in general, has it ever reached that point? Like where you know you have to share, but the kid doesn't want you to share or something like that, and then it gets a bit sticky.
Plenty of times. You've had arguments, you've had showdowns, and all of that. Yeah. Dealt with a bit. Yeah. But I think it's the confidence that comes as an adult. I'm very certain of what I'm doing. And at the end of the day, the child is convinced eventually, after a period of time, I didn't have no personal vendetta. It was their safety which was prime for me. Just wanted to ensure they were protected. And if they get it, great. If they don't, I'd say, God bless you. Take care. I'm certain of what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. That makes sense.
And what about a confession? Like someone approaches you, tells you they did something unethical, illegal, or something like that. How do you process that?
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
I am unethical. Hypothetical. You mean like, oh Lord, possession of drugs and all of that?
मैम मैंने कल ऐसे नशे करके ना उड़ा दिया तो अब बताओ क्या करूं?
मैम hit and run का case हो गया, कहाँ जाऊँ?
Like you've smoked, you've done stuff, no?
Okay, let's say I come to you, ma'am. I'll be like, ma'am, कल ना party थी, there was a party, I got drunk, and then मैंने drunk drive करके उड़ा दिया किसी को, अब क्या करूं मैं? So what do you do? Hypothetical.
Ma'am, ज़्यादा हो रहा है. Like, ma'am, what if someone wants to share with you, like, if he's never done drugs and if he...
I think that's a more,
that's a valid thing.
That's what I wanted to portray.
Okay. You know, that drugs is a rising issue, like, in today's world. Like, many people, as you know, are indulging in smoking some illegal smoking and stuff like that. So if he doesn't want to tell it,
so I would say, so Raghav, I think I would process the situation as, oh dear, that this is the age we all experiment, right? So I want to normalize the tone first of the conversation and get the child to say, okay, this is what we've been talking about, and then identify what is it that is really bothering you, the fact that you did it or the fact that you're going to be found out or you're going to get caught. Unpack and process all of that, and then of course keep the confidentiality and let it be without and process further. If at all, if something like that has happened, what Aditya shared, you've been in an accident and you've hurt somebody, that's when the authorities get involved with that. Then it is no longer something to be shared in confidence. That is, I would, in every case like that, I would encourage, get your parents in the loop.
Okay.
They are your primary caregivers. But they will support you regardless.
Yeah,
they
but
need to
in
know
that case, would you share that with my parents? Like, if that's the case, would you share that?
I would know. I would encourage. आपके क्या बड़े बच्चे हैं? I would encourage you. I would like you to go and tell your parents. Okay. And if the child says, "I'm not going to be able to," I said, "I'll be on the call with you. I'll be quiet, but you talk." "I'll not be able to talk, ma'am." I said, "Okay, I'll facilitate the conversation." There's a difference. I will not tell. I will facilitate the conversation, but you can share with your parents and then guide the conversation so the parents are not flipping out. कि ये क्या हो गया है and thar and all. No मार पिटाई. Manage the situation.
Hit and run ever come to you, what, ma'am?
Huh?
Has a case of hit and run ever come to you?
Hit and run नहीं बेटा. I never.
इतना थोड़ा पागल है क्या? कब पहुंच गया तू?
I got क्या मेरे पास क्या हमें डरा रहे हो तुमने? All my years it will be my fault.
How to deal off with like drugs then? Like, do you talk to the student first, or do you inform the parents and tell them that your child has indulged in activities such like
अभी तो confidentiality
smoking,
part हुई नहीं ना.
So again, it comes under the confidentiality bit, right? This is something that I had done in my previous school. There the protocol was talk to the child, get the child's point of view, understand where they're at, and do an assessment of that situation. Get the child, first thing is get in touch with the medical facilities over there.
Okay.
To ensure that everything is okay. You know, we always worry about how much is it in your system.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Very worried about the OD situation and all of that. How much do you have in hand? And what is going to be the trigger for you to be using it next and things like that. Eliminate all the scenarios wherein he or she could be in danger, and then have the conversation of the need to get the parents in the loop. Then take it forward from there. Once the parents are in the loop, then the management is informed rather, because they need to know. The management just needs to know. Well, they're not going to come and talk to you. I need to talk to you about this. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. They just need to know because the situation is of a legal nature. If at all there's something that happen, the head of the school just needs to know. And they just need to know that the counselors are taking care of it, the medical facilities are taking care of it, and the parents are informed. That's it.
But let's hope ऐसा होए ना कभी. Touch wood. मैम डर गई थी अभी देखा था.
को touch करो.
But like,
what do you think?
What do you think, like, behind students taking drugs, or people who are going through mental problems, or like who are like having problems in their general life, take drugs? Like, is there any fixed percentage, or
so drugs as a coping mechanism?
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
How do you fix that? Yeah. How do you fix that?
Yeah.
Or your thoughts on that?
Thoughts नहीं.
Exactly. Thoughts नहीं भाई, thoughts रहने दे तू.
I think ये जा रहा है कि मैम आप बताओ फिर मैं कितना कर सकता हूँ.
इसका ये है.
डूबूंगा सबको लेके डूबूंगा.
और मैम ये लिटरली सॉल्यूशन निकाल रहा है कि मैं लूं और मैं आपको बताऊं ना. बस साइड से निकल जाऊं.
तो मुझे ये बताओ, ये कॉन्वर्सेशन सुन कौन रहा है? बच्चा कम्युनिटी?
ना this will be on YouTube. So I think he's like ये सोचा है कि अच्छा अभी मैं मैम के सामने पूछ लेता हूँ, तो अगर मैं बाद में कुछ शुरू करता हूँ तो मेरे पास एक्सक्यूज होगी, मैम ने बोला था. ये ऐसे दिमाग से चल रहा है.
कुछ भी. Process it.
Okay, jokes apart, we were just running out of time because YouTube पे फिर लंबा हो जाएगा and all. So is there any? We broadly talked about everything. So any last word of advice for our listeners you would have regarding mental health?
Oh, I would say if we can accept our moments of vulnerability, it is going to be such a hallmark. Because, when you accept yourself for who you are, you're comfortable with who you are, then the way you process and the way you're going to see how life unfolds for you is going to be so different, as opposed to when you have your facades on because you're not happy with the way you are. You want to show yourself and project yourself in a different which way. So be comfortable and accept yourself for who you are. And there is a lot of strength in vulnerability, I would say.
Yeah.
And I would say kudos to all these wonderful young people who are taking this issue forward. It's a big step. Bless you all, and great goings ahead for your podcast.
Okay, with that compliment in mind, we'll end this episode.
I hope that
before that, I was like, ab sab itte hyped up ho gaye. Everyone's so hyped up. Like, so any like small 5-minute activity which everyone can do just to calm themselves. Like, abhi we'll practice that with you right now. Or agar kisi ko ghar pe karni ho, anyone wants to practice it by themselves in their room when they're feeling like out of control. So like a grounding activity which you would like to share over here virtually.
I like that word. I'm so impressed. Grounding activity. Yes, I do a lot of grounding activity to calm down my patients who come in with patients.
We'll follow along, ma'am. We'll follow along.
Yes, we all will practice.
So it will. If you can play some relaxing music in the background, it just sets the tone. If you want to, abhi karne ki zarurat nahi hai. We always make sure we are sitting with our feet flat on the ground, touching the ground. If you can take off your chappal, that will be great. The idea is to have the sensation. Never sit cross because you want free-flowing energy. And hands open, resting on your thighs. On your thighs. And you can... नहीं मैं दिखा रही हूँ ऐसे.
Okay. Now I'm talking about you.
हाँ उसके ऊपर रख के and just do deep breathing. Deep breathing करो. हाँ. So when we do deep breathing, essentially when you're inhaling, I do this, there's a coffee breathing that I say. When you inhale, it's like you are taking in the aroma of a good coffee. And when you're exhaling, you are blowing the coffee because it's really hot. So if you can have that imagery in your mind, any hot drink that you really like, you can just imagine that and you can do that bit. Raghav is in coffee land. Good. So you can do that. So it's just a few minutes. And then what you can do is if you keep your heart on your chest so you can feel your heartbeat. And you keep doing this.
Chest on the left side.
आपका हार्ट जिधर भी है वहीं पे रखिए अपना पता नहीं शायद आपका दूसरी साइड में है एंड हाँ दोनों है you stole somebody's heart, huh? Okay.
My heart is out there, ma'am.
So you put it there, beta, and when you are anxious and you're worked up, you will feel it beating really fast. So when you're doing a deep breathing, and just keep getting a sense of your inhale and your exhale, and when you can really feel the heartbeat in the palm of your hand, it has really normalized, is when you can stop. That's about it. And you can do it wherever you are before an exam, anywhere. Really? You don't have to do anything fancy with your hands. Something small like this. And I love the 3 idiots approach when he used to say all is well. It's a proof technique. It is a grounding technique. Yeah, it is a grounding technique. I
was just seeing the movie the other day and I saw the scene in which Amir Khan changed the words for the speech. And that part,
yes.
That part was
the epic speech. Yes, I remember that. We were in splits.
That part was hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
This technique weirdly worked though. This technique weirdly worked.
Yes,
I didn't expect this to work. It worked.
It does, Beta. It does work. Yeah, it does work. Because the reason I advocate for it is because I practice it.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
In between my heavy sessions in school, if there are 2 heavy sessions, so I practice my grounding before the next student steps in. Yeah. It works.
It does work. Yeah. It does work. Okay, I think on that note, we'll end this episode of the Mask Off podcast. Thank you so much, Miss Yaman, for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Amazing conversation.
It was wonderful to interact with you guys.
Yeah. So, for everyone who's watching, stay safe, stay at home, wear your masks. We'll wear masks with you. Wear your mask.
Oh yeah, lovely.
Stay at home, mask off. See you guys next time.
Okay. Bye-bye.